Let me ask you something. Right now, at this very moment, do you feel stuck? Like no matter how hard you try, nothing moves. Nothing changes. Like everyone around you is moving forward, building something, becoming someone. And you're just standing there. If that's you, I need you to stay right here. Don't scroll. Don't skip. Because what I'm about to tell you is something nobody told me when I needed it most. This is not a story about overnight success. This is not about going viral, winning the lottery, or being gifted. This is the story of someone who had nothing. Who failed. Who got knocked down so many times they stopped counting. And then, slowly, painfully, silently, they built something real. This might be your story too. And if it is, it's not over yet. Not even close. 0. Absolute zero. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing you have nothing. Not a little bit of nothing. Real nothing. No savings. No plan. No connections. No mentor. Maybe you're living in a one-room house. Maybe you're sleeping on a friend's couch. Maybe the people around you have already written you off. That's zero. And here's the thing about zero that nobody tells you. Zero is terrifying. Zero is embarrassing. Zero is loud. Because when you're at zero, your mind doesn't stay quiet. It screams at you. You're too late. You're too old. You're not smart enough. You don't have what it takes. And the worst part? The people closest to you sometimes say the same thing, not out loud, but in the way they look at you. In the way they stop asking about your dreams. In the way they smile and say to maybe try something more realistic. You know that smile. You've seen it. But here's what I want you to understand right now. Zero is not the end of your story. Zero is the starting line. Every empire you've ever admired, every great person you've looked up to, every success story that made you say, I wish that was me. They all started at zero. Some of them started below zero. And the only difference between the ones who made it and the ones who didn't? They refused to stay there. 2. The moment everything changes. There's a moment. A specific moment. You might not recognize it when it happens. In fact, most people miss it entirely. It's not a dramatic moment. There are no fireworks. No voice from the sky. It's quiet. Almost invisible. It's the moment you get tired of your own excuses. You've been blaming your background. Your family. Your city. Your luck. And maybe some of that is even true. Maybe life really did deal you a bad hand. Maybe you really did grow up without support. Maybe people really did fail you. But at some point, and this is the hardest truth I'll ever say to you, at some point, you have to pick up the cards you've been dealt. And decide to play the game anyway. Not because it's fair. Not because you have an advantage. But because the alternative, staying stuck, staying bitter, staying at zero, that costs you everything. That moment of decision, that's where your real life begins. Not when you get the money. Not when you get the opportunity. Not when someone finally believes in you. Right now. Today. With what you have. That is the moment everything changes. 3. The work nobody sees. Now I need to be honest with you about something. Because too many people have been lied to. They've been told that if you just believe hard enough, success will come. That you just need to manifest it. Visualize it. Feel it. And listen, mindset matters. Belief matters. But belief without action? That's just a dream. A beautiful, comfortable, going nowhere dream. The real work, the work that actually builds something, happens in private. It happens at 5 in the morning when nobody's watching. It happens on a Tuesday night when you're exhausted and you show up anyway. It happens in the moments of doubt, in the moments of failure, in the moments when quitting would be so easy. Think about the things you want. The business, the body, the skills, the life. None of those things come to people who wait. They come to people who build, brick by brick, day by day, even when progress feels invisible. Here's a truth that changed my life. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the next step. That's it. You don't need a 10-year plan perfectly mapped out. You need to know what the next right action is and do it. Then do it again tomorrow. And the day after that. I'm going to tell you something most people aren't willing to say. The gap between where you are and where you want to be? It's not filled with talent. It's not filled with luck. It's not filled with connections or privilege or the right timing. It's filled with days. Days where you chose to show up. Days where you chose to learn. Days where you chose discipline over comfort. That gap is filled with work. And work is something you can do. Starting right now. For when it gets hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat this part. Because if I only tell you the inspiring stuff, I'm lying to you. The truth is, the road from zero to success is brutal. There will be weeks where you work harder than you've ever worked in your life. And nothing happens. No results. No recognition. No sign that any of it is working. Just silence. There will be moments where you pour your heart into something, your idea, your project, your dream. And it fails. Publicly. Embarrassingly. Completely. There will be people who laugh. People who say, "I told you so." People who were never in your corner to begin with, but they'll show up for the failure. And in those moments, your mind will tell you the cruelest thing it knows how to say. Maybe they're right. Maybe I was never meant for more than this. I need you to hear me very clearly right now. That voice is not the truth. That voice is fear. That voice is exhaustion. That voice is the part of you that wants to be safe. But safe doesn't build empires. Safe doesn't change lives. Safe doesn't make you who you were born to become. You know what separates the people who eventually make it from the ones who don't? It's not that they never felt like giving up. It's that they felt all of that, the doubt, the pain, the embarrassment. And they kept going anyway. Every single setback you face is teaching you something. Every failure is a lesson you couldn't have learned any other way. Every hard season is building something inside you, a resilience, a depth, a character that cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. The struggle is part of the process. Not a detour from the process. Part of it. 5. The turning point. And then one day, it shifts. Not all at once. Not in one dramatic moment. But slowly, the way the sun rises. Things start to change. The skill you've been quietly building for months starts to show. The connections you made start to open doors. The discipline you practiced in private starts to produce results in public. And people notice. The same people who doubted you. The same ones who gave you that smile. They notice. And they'll want to know your secret. They'll call it luck. They'll call it timing. They'll call it you got a break. But you'll know the truth. You'll know about the early mornings. You'll know about the nights you pushed through exhaustion. You'll know about every failure that almost broke you, but didn't. You'll know that this didn't happen to you. You built this. And that feeling, that knowledge that you created something from nothing, that is something no one can ever take from you. Not a recession. Not a setback. Not a bad year. Because the same hands that built it once can build it again. And again. And again. So let me bring it back to where we started. You, right now, wherever you are in your journey. Maybe you're just beginning. Maybe you're in the middle of the hard part. Maybe you're closer than you think. Wherever you are, I need you to hear this. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not too small, too broken, or too far gone. You are exactly where you need to be at the beginning of your next chapter. The only question is, what do you do with today? Do you give in to the noise, the doubt, the comfort, the endless scrolling? Or do you take one step, one real, deliberate, courageous step toward the life you actually want? Here's what I know to be true. The world doesn't need another person who almost tried. The world needs you, fully committed, fully alive, fully building. So rise. Not because it's easy. Not because you're guaranteed to succeed. Rise because you are capable of more than you've allowed yourself to believe. Rise because every version of you that gave up before deserves to finally see what happens when you don't. Rise because the story isn't over. It's just getting started. Now go. Build something. The world is waiting. If this video spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And if you're on this journey, drop a comment below. Tell me, what's your zero? What are you building? I read every single one.